Okay, everyone, thanks for taking some time to take a look at this cryptex overview. My goal is really simple. I want to make sure that you get all the information you need to make an intelligent decision as to whether or not this makes sense for you and for your family. I believe this is one of the best wealth creation vehicles that I've ever seen, but I'm simply going to give you the facts as they were shared with me, and then you can make that determination. Now, before we get started, I think I just want to get the housekeeping out of the way. You can freeze this as you're watching this video if you want to read it, but listen, guys, I'm not the owner of this company. I'm not a financial advisor. Only thing I'm going to do with you is share with you some information that I received and I decided to engage with. Please understand that any type of thing that you do that's in business, it has some sort of inherent risk. Just decide if the risk versus the reward makes sense for you and for your family, and then please move forward from there. Now, just imagine if you were driving down the street in your city, your town, and you saw this billboard. ABC Bank, you can insert whatever bank that is for you in your town, whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, TD Bank, whatever. We're offering $30,000 to $40,000 loans, guaranteed approval. We're not going to check your credit. We're not going to see if you have a job. We don't even care what your name is. No ID required. Just a $100 processing fee gets you guaranteed approval. Guys, if you saw that in your town, two things are very probable. Number one, if you drove down to the bank, you would see that there was a line that stretched over the horizon of people just standing there waving their $100 bill. And number two, a couple years later, that bank would probably be out of business simply because it's just too risky, right? They walk in with $100, they walk out with 30 to 40 grand. The bank doesn't even know who they are. Most people aren't going to come back. They're going to go out and they're simply going to waste that money. But what if it was possible? What if banks could really do that? They could really provide capital to people so that they could go out and engage in markets with that capital. They could do it without even being concerned about who the people were, because the bank was 100% guaranteed that not one single person would default. What would something like that look like? Guys, let's talk to you for a second about cryptex.to and how all of this actually comes together. Cryptex is a community-based project utilizing a blockchain-based DeFi staking protocol as its point for earning, guys. Cryptex maintains partnerships with banks, insurance companies, and individual account holders. That's people like you and I working uniformly to generate profit for all parties involved. They offer this unique DeFi hybrid contract consisting of two parts: a smart contract, I'm going to explain that, and a decentralized Oracle network of secure off-chain services that support the smart contract. Now, Cryptex provides anonymity for all parties. I'm going to show you why that's important here later. And they've been in operation since 2016. So this is not new. We're actually entering into our 9th year, and they are currently over 800,000 account holders worldwide. So a lot of people have already taken advantage of this wealth creation vehicle and literally changed their lives forever. Now, first, let's start with some of the basics. What is staking? Staking is the process of keeping your crypto assets locked for a contractual period of time in order to generate passive income. Locked assets protect the network's ability to generate crypto profits, and as a reward, the staker/participant receives returns. This is very similar to getting a CD or certificate of deposit from your bank. The longer you let them hold your money, the better the interest. If you let them hold your money for 6 months, you get one interest rate. If you tell them they can hold it for a year, 2 years, or 3 years, you get a much higher interest rate. It's the same exact thing, except with Cryptex, they're doing it with Bitcoin, and in your bank, they're doing it with your dollars. Now, they've put together this 4-part profit partnership. Let's talk about the parts of the profit partnership. Number one, we've got the bank. We know what banks do. They loan money and they earn interest. We've got the insurance company, which is going to insure the capital that's coming from the bank. We've got you, right? And you know who you are, right? You're the person, if you're like most of us, you're constantly worried about the future. What can I do better? What can I do differently to make sure that myself and the people that I care about are protected? And then we've got the smart contract. Now, if you're not from this crypto space, you may not be familiar with that term, but a smart contract, I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. It is simply executed code that is on a blockchain. I'll show you that in a second. And all it says is, hey, whenever this particular set of circumstances exist, we do this. There's no human interaction. There's no people hesitating, changing their mind, getting finicky, forgetting to take care of business. The smart contract executes perfectly every single time. Now, in this profit partnership, everyone has their part. You're going to go out and create a free account with Cryptex using only an email and a password. That's it. They don't need any other information about you. You're going to pay a $100 processing fee for each DeFi staking contract that you want. You decide if you want your contract's term to be 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years. I'll show you the difference here in a moment. And then you can have a maximum of 80 contracts, no exception. It used to be 20 when the company first started. A few years back, it became 55, and now it's 80. 80 is the maximum that you can have. So that's your part. Very simple. Now, the bank. The bank makes a loan or loans, if you get multiple contracts, directly to the staking contract on your behalf. That's important. It means you don't get to touch the money. That guarantees the bank that you're not going to simply take it and run to the casinos or do something else with it, okay? The loans are either $30,240 for the 3-year terms or $43,200 for the 5 and 7 year term contracts. Now, for the bank's part, they get back 6.75% interest every single year on every single loan, which is incredible returns for them. And the bank receives the initial loan amount back at the end of each contract's term. So 3 years, 5 years, from 7 years, they get all their money back, plus they've earned 6.75% per year through the entire period. Now, the insurance company, they insure the staking wallet for loss or default. This is the double guarantee for the bank. Number one, you can't touch the money, so you can't do anything crazy with it. And number two, even if something happens to Cryptex, even if something happens to the staking wallet, their money is insured, so they still get back all their money. So now the bank has no risk of loss. Period. End of story. This removes all risk from the bank. For their part, the insurance company will receive monthly premiums of either $210 for the 3-year loans or $300 for the 5 and 7 year loans. And then finally, the staking contract, they do all the heavy lifting. Number one, they calculate your daily profits on those loans, 0.1 to 0.3% micro compounded, so they get big over time. They pay the bank all of the annual interest, as well as they guarantee that the bank, the day that the loans terminate, the bank gets back their money before anybody else gets anything. They pay the insurance company their monthly premiums every single time, every single month, on time, every time. $210 or $300 going out there, and they assign the remaining profits to you. That's why you do this. That's where all the big win comes in, guys. You see, what's going to happen is once you get your free account with Cryptex and you log into your back office, you're going to be given the option to go out and get these staking contracts, anywhere from one of them up to 80 of them. Now, you'll notice they've got a few different options here. They've got the 36 months, so that's the 3 years. It's $100 processing fee. They've got, I'm going to skip this one for a second. They've got the 5-year one. It's $100 processing fee. And they've got the 7-year one. It's a $100 processing fee. It doesn't matter. The only thing you're going to determine is whether you want to let them hold that loan for 3, 5, or 7 years. And I'll show you what your returns are here in a second. But they also have a bonus special that's going on right now. They haven't told us how long it's going to last, but it will not last forever, where if you have $1,000, you can get 15 contracts. Normally that would only get you 10, but if you're willing to buy them all at once and buy this pack, you get 5 additional contracts for free. Now, there's a limit of only 3 of these hybrid packs, so keep that in mind when you're buying. You can only buy a maximum of 3 of those and get 45 contracts in essence for $3,000. Now, with that said, here's the big $100 decision. Do you want to get a 3-year term where they're going to give you $30,240 to start with, a 5-year or a 7-year term where you're getting $43,200? Let's talk about what you get on the other end. Keep in mind that the numbers I'm about to show you, these numbers are what is left over after the bank has been paid back all their money plus their interest, after the insurance companies have been paid, after the staking platform has been paid all of their fees. This is what is left over for you. At the end of 3 years, after everyone else gets paid, you actually will have left over $35,000 and change. That is what you get, okay? This is after everybody else has gotten their payouts. At the end of 5 years, remember the loan amount starts off larger, therefore it's going to compound faster and it's going to compound longer. Over 471,000 is left over for you, and at the end of 7 years, with more compounding and more and it's more explosive, you get $1.5 million for the same $100 processing fee. The only thing that changes is the loans that are initiated at the beginning and the length of time that the staking contract has to hold on to those crypto assets so they can continue to earn more money in the market with it. This is what they're paying you back at the end of this 3, 5, or 7 years. 35 and change, 471,000 and change, or 1.5 million and a little bit of change. And remember, you can get a maximum of 80 of these contracts per person. This is why people are changing their lives. Now, guys, once a contract is selected, we used an example. I copied this out of the back office of someone who got 1 3-year contract just so you see what it looked like. They paid a $100 processing fee, and the appropriate loan amount was instantly paid to the staking contract on their behalf. So in your account, you instantly see loan in staking pool, in this case just for one contract, $30,240. If they had gotten the 5 or the 7 year, this would be the $40,000 plus loan. And if they had gotten multiple contracts, this number would get bigger. In fact, if they got 80 contracts, this would be a few $1,000,000 of loans that were placed in here on their behalf. Now, within 24 to 48 hours, you start earning daily staking rewards, and these rewards are compounded daily 365 days per year. It's the magic of the compounding. It doesn't really matter the size of the daily compounding, but the magic of the compounding over and over and over again over 3, 5, or 7 years that creates these huge balances on the other end. Let's address the elephant in the room. Honestly, is this real? Because let's face it, if I told you, hand me $100, I'll hand you back 35,003, 471,005, or 1.5 million in 7 years, of course you'd do it. Everyone would do it. There's not a person on the planet who wouldn't do it if it was real. And that's where I got to when I first saw this. I said, listen, this is real. I'm not just going to invest hundreds. I'll put up thousands of dollars to get these to protect me and my family and to secure our future. But is this real? So let's talk about some of the proof that was provided. First of all, this was a copy of someone's actual back office. You'll see this exact same page in your back office when you actually sign up for the free account. It's called an overview of withdrawal funds. This is where all the withdrawals are coming out of your account, and you can see each and every withdrawal, the date, the amount, and the wallet that it went to. Now, clearly, again, for anonymity purposes, people have kind of blocked out their wallets and their contract numbers, but you can still see the dates and you can see the amount. So we'll come down here to the bottom. On January 10th, 2023, they took out $98,000. January 11th, 2023, $89,487. On March 15th, 100,000. March 18th, 100,000. March 20th, 112,000. March 21st, 2023, 100,000. Guys, what I look at this as, a person who got started, got a couple of contracts, very quickly saw their profits adding up, said this is real, went and got some more contracts, right? And now these contracts are executing for them, and they're actually just pulling out of their profits off of the platform. These profits are paid out to them in Bitcoin. This is the USD value of that Bitcoin at that particular time. So that is simply amazing. Now, what we also saw was exactly what this process looks like. There was a person who was willing to actually film the entire process, which was pretty cool, where they showed their back office, and then they showed the exact email that they got when their contract terminated and what it actually looks like, what they actually do. So for a couple things I want to point out to you here, you can see, and you'll see this for every contract that you get, you'll see the start date, which in this case was 11/20/2020. You'll see the end date, which in this case is 11/21/2023. So an exact 3-year contract. You could see that the amount was $43,200 for the loan, and I'll talk to that in a second. You could see the $300 that was being paid for it per month to the insurance company, the amount of interest paid out every year to the bank, as well as the monthly handling fee of $30 per month on the platform. Now remember, I've already told you that for the 3-year loans that we have available to us right now, it's $30,240. But a few years ago, they were offering a different 3-year package that they were offering $43,200, much more explosive because of the higher loan amount. But those are sold out. Even if you go to the website, it'll say 36 months are sold out. But when you log into your back office, you'll see the new 36-month one for the $30,240 that they're currently offering. Now, on exactly November 21st, 2023, this gentleman received an email basically saying, hey, regarding this loan, this particular loan, basically telling them it's terminated and giving them the breakdown. It said, listen, you've got $501,487.74 that started off as the wallet balance. We did some back-end adjustments for different fees and different back-end compensation. That lowered it to $485,145.68. We then did a loan reversal. So this was 2 contracts that they had, each one for $43,200, the loans. So that was $86,400. That goes back to the bank right away. Before you get to touch anything, they sent the bank back their $86,000. So the bank was very happy. And then what was left over was $398,745.68. Okay, $398,745.68, almost 400 grand. You can see the deposit right here that was made into his back office for $398,745.68. It says total funds available, 403 grand. So he had another $5,000 or so in his back office already. He then withdrew that money, and you can see the Bitcoin now on his personal wallet. He's using a cell phone. You could have done this with a computer, but of 10.597 Bitcoin. Now, this was back in 2023, so Bitcoin clearly was worth, I think, around that point, somewhere close to 40 grand, maybe about $37,000 or $38,000 Bitcoin. If he kept this Bitcoin until today, I don't know if he did or not, but if he kept it to today, when Bitcoin is worth over 100,000, 10.597 would be over $1 million worth of Bitcoin. But you can see he got his 10.597. It's about $39,000 of Bitcoin that he ended up with in his wallet after all transfer fees, etc. Guys, that is incredible. 390,000, I should say, almost of Bitcoin. Now, for a lot of people, that was enough proof. For me, I was like, show me the blockchain. What does the blockchain say? Because the blockchain can't be faked. Now, if you're from this space, you know what the blockchain is. If you don't, blockchain is simply a database of transactions, often called a distributed ledger, that has been duplicated and broadcasted to a network of users who can all verify and agree on the database. All cryptocurrencies run on a blockchain. Now, if that's too complicated, just simply understand this. It is completely transparent. It is completely secure, so it can't be hacked and it can't be faked. And that was the important thing for me, and it's completely public. So once you have the address of a blockchain wallet, you can go look at it every single day and you can see what's happening. And all I wanted to know was if people are really being paid hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, show it to me on the blockchain. I don't need to see screenshots and hear testimonials. Just show it to me in a place where I know it can't be faked. So guys, I blew this up for you so you could actually copy down this address if you want to. You can freeze this screen right now on the video and you can copy this address. But listen, go to www.blockchain.com/explorer. You plug in this address and you hit submit, and you'll actually come to this Bitcoin wallet. Now, this is a clearinghouse wallet. It means they're sending in the money into this wallet so people can then go and withdraw it right away. So whenever you look at this, you're probably going to see a Bitcoin balance of zero or maybe a few hundred to a few $1,000,000 because you happen to look at it right before somebody pulled off their profits. But this is the part you need to see on this wallet. This address has transacted 26,530 times on the Bitcoin blockchain. It has received a total of 504,022.69 blah, 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 blah Bitcoin. That is equivalent to $52,682,588,662. $52 billion and change, almost $53 billion. That is just one wallet, guys. Just one wallet that Cryptex is paying out through. So I also went down, now I showed you this, and you can copy that if you want to and go look at it. But then here's what it looks like. I took a snapshot here recently. Looks like this was May 13th. So guys, look at what's going out of this wallet, okay? $6.95 million being paid out to someone. These are the deposits that they sent in, so this person could then take out their $6.95 million. 451,000 going out to someone else. This red means going out. $4.99 million going out to someone, and another one here, $5 million. And this just goes on for page after page after page after page after page through this wallet. Again, you can see it's the same wallet as I showed you on the previous screen. Now, here's another wallet, okay? If that's not enough for you, again, you can freeze this screen. You can get this address. You can go plug it in. Look at this one. 516,241,580,691. So you look at that's what's come in, that's what they've paid out. So over $1 trillion it says in volume, but it's because they're including both in, received, and sent. It's $516 billion has actually flowed into this wallet, and then people obviously withdrew it. So this wallet has been going on for a while now. But again, another cryptex wallet. Guys, let's address the other elephant in the room, though, because once I saw the blockchain, I said, okay, there's no question about it. That's all the proof I needed to see. Yes, there's a ton of money coming in, and they're paying out a ton of money to their 800,000 plus users. That got me excited, but the question did come up. The other elephant in the room, how do I know this isn't a Ponzi scheme based solely on the $100 processing fees? Like, prove to me that banks are really sending money. What if it's just a bunch of people around the world who are being fooled? They're sending in this $100. They're using the $100 to pay out the other people. Let's do some quick math, guys, and I think we can get rid of this. First of all, $100. That's what we're talking about, right? Cryptex has a little over 800,000 users. Let's round that number all the way up to 900,000. Let's just make it a bigger number. 900,000 times $100 would be $90 million. That's a lot of money. Clearly enough money to run a Ponzi if you wanted to. 90 million. Let's make it even bigger. Let's say that every one of these people, they got the full 80 contracts. We know that's not possible because 80 contracts didn't even used to be available, but let's say they did. Every one of these 900,000 people got 80 contracts each. That would mean 90 million times 80, $7.2 billion. That is an insane amount of money. You could run an incredible Ponzi scheme with $7.2 billion. There's just one problem. I just showed you two wallets, and the smaller wallet had $52 billion go through it. If in all of the history of Cryptex, they bought in $7.2 billion in $100 payments, where the other $45+ billion come from? The only excuse, the only way that this is possible is if they're doing exactly what they said they're doing. Every single $100 processing fee is being backed now by loans from banks, and that capital is being used by Cryptex to earn money and through a staking process, and those profits are being shared with you. The banks are being paid, the insurance companies are being paid, and people's lives are being changed every single day. That was all the proof. That was the elephants in the room. That was the blockchain proof. That was all the look at people's back offices. That's what I needed to know. Now, the only other thing I wanted to address here for you before we wrap up is great. Now we know there's a way for people to go out there and actually secure their future 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years from now. But if you're like most people, you may have some concerns about your financial situation today, right? Is there a way to not have to wait just for the 3, 5, or 7 years for your locked stake profits to open up, but for a way for you to earn some revenue today? I'm going to quickly go through this, but yes, there is a way, and I'll show you some exact examples and some real people, and you can see how people are earning some real money today. Cryptex has this incredible referral program. It's one of the best I've ever seen. 3 different ways that they're going to pay you. We will go through each one of them, and then we will be done. The first way, direct commissions paid out immediately. When we say immediately, I mean the second someone purchases the contract, your commission pops up into your Cryptex back office and is available for withdrawal right that second. Okay, so that's what we mean by immediately. Now, for every 3, 5, or 7 year contract, remember there is a $100 processing fee that is paid. What Cryptex has said is we're going to share that $100 fee with you if you want to go out and help others hear about this incredible wealth creation vehicle. So they're going to pay you through a 10 level deep, what they call a unilevel. 30% on your first level, which means people you personally refer, 5% second level, 5% third level, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why I love the fact that it's based off $100 is because it makes it real easy to do the math. You're going to earn 30 bucks for every contract that every person that you personally refer gets, period. 30 bucks. You're going to earn 5 bucks for every contract that anybody that you that is on your second level gets. 5 bucks on the third level, 4 bucks on these levels, 3 bucks on these levels. So the only question I had to show you the power of this was, what do you think would be reasonable? Like, how many people do you think you could talk to or refer? Or how many people would you even be inclined to share this with that you cared about, that you knew could use some real stability in their financial future? And when I thought about this, I thought about all my family members, all my friends, the people that we go to church with, our neighbors, etc. I thought about tons and tons of people, literally hundreds and hundreds of people that I interact with, on a regular basis that could actually benefit from this. But I decided to dumb the numbers down and say, do you think it would be possible that you would share this with 3 people? That might not even, leave your household, just those 3 people. But do you think it would be possible that you would share this with 3 people and have them come in and protect themselves with some of these cryptex contracts? If you did, if you just referred 3 people and those 3 people did the same, you can see that 3 finding 3 finding 3 finding 3, as it got through different levels, the numbers would still get very, very large, very, very fast. And that's just finding 3 people. There are people who are finding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, but that's just with 3 people. Now, the only other question was, what do we think the average amount of contracts an individual would get? On our team, everybody's driving towards 80. Why not get the maximum returns that you could get? But let's say you had a blend. Some people got 80, some people got 1, some people got 2, some people got 30. Let's say on average it was just 10 contracts per person. Then the contract numbers would look like this, and this is what your actual payout would be. Remember, all of these commissions will be available to you instantly in your back office. You could withdraw them in Bitcoin right away and have that wealth that you would start building. This is your front end money just for going out and referring this to people. Now, guys, you can go all the way to the bottom here. You can see all these numbers are cumulative, by the way. You would earn $900 here. You can earn another $450 here, which means you earned a total of $1,350. Here you would earn another $1,350, which means you earned $2,700 total, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what I want to just focus on is, let's just look at this one level, level 7, because as you started to build this and it started to refer out, you'd end up with about 2,100 people just on this level at $3 each. That's 65 grand, but you add all of that up and you've now earned over $100,000 just because you went out and shared this with a few people who did the same. You can look down below, the numbers get even crazier. This is another 200 grand added, another 600 grand added, 1.8 million or so added here. And you can see that people could potentially make a significant income just by sharing this with a few people. And again, it's going to be hard to only share this with a few people. It's also going to be hard for people to have the discipline to only get 10 contracts. Most people are going to go for the full 80 over time. But again, I wanted to lowball the numbers just to show you how powerful this could be. Now, here's the part though that really got me excited. And for this part, we're just going to focus on the level 5 from the previous screen. On that level, you had 243 referrals, each one with 10 contracts, so 2,430 contracts. It was a 4% level, so you got paid $4 for each one of them, so 9,720 bucks. But guys, on the back end, this means 3 years from now when these contracts execute, you're going to get paid for these again. The difference is here, let's see, level 5 over here is 4% as well, but the difference is it's not 4% of the $100 processing fee, it's 4% of the executed value of the now terminated contract. So you think about it, $35,000 for a 3-year contract is what's going to be the terminated value after everybody else is paid. 4% of that is $1,400. I have these little plus signs because it's 35,000 and change, so a little bit more than 35 grand. It's a little bit more than 1,400, but $1,400 that you're going to get, okay, that's your 4% for 2,430 contracts. That's $3.4 million 3 years from now on the back end. Guys, think about that for a moment. Now, all of a sudden, when you saw that blockchain wallet, and you saw 6 million going out, 5 million going out, 4.9 million going out. Now all of a sudden you can get an idea of where it's coming from. So kind of keep that in mind, what we're talking about you can do for you and your family just by going out and sharing this with a few people. Now finally, if you are a leader, if you are one of those people who either you're a big builder, you have a lot of influence, or you're just one of those people who when you see something really good, you refuse to keep it to yourself, I want to show you the possibilities here if you share this with a lot of people. Guys, if you go out and actually qualify for their leader bonus, it means you've done a few things. One, you've shared it with 100 people or more. Okay, 100 people or more who all opted to get at least one contract. That's it, at least just one. You've also got a total on your team of 100,000 in volume, which means throughout your entire team, you've got 1,000 contracts or more. Now, if you shared it with 100 people and all 10 of them, or all 100 of those people got 10 contracts, you'd still have 1,000 contracts or more. So you have both qualifications done. But again, this is your entire team through infinity. And then finally, every month you get at least 100 new contracts between your first and second level. Okay, because people can get more contracts and more contracts. So between your first and second level, you're getting 100 contracts. If you do that, the moment you get that qualification, they're going to give you a retroactive bonus of $5,000 available to you instantly. But going forward, they're going to pay you another $5 for every single contract that comes through your organization through infinity. Not through 10 levels, not through 20 levels, not through 50 levels, but through infinity. An extra $5 per contract. So let me show you what that looks like, guys. Let's say we look at this 7th level. You made 65 grand on that 7th level from these contracts, but by the time you got to the 7th level, let's say you would already hit these qualifications. Now, not only would you make that 65 grand because you're getting your $3 per, but they're going to add another $5 per, and at $5 per, that alone is another $109,000. And remember, this $5 goes through infinity. By the way, the company is incredibly generous. If you don't get 100 new contracts between your first two levels, let's say you only get 50, they'll give you half the bonus. If you only get 20, they'll still give you $1 per contract through infinity. So they're not trying to figure out a way to not pay you. They're trying to figure out a way to reward you time and time again to go out and get the word out. Now, finally, I want to stop talking theoretical and I want to show you an actual 3-year case study. This is a person, we copied this out of their back office. You'll see these two panels in your back office. They will say overview profits locked and then overview income totals unlocked. This is a person we say 3-year case study because they had been a member of Cryptex for about 3 years and 3 months when we actually copied this out of their back office. So overview profits locked is showing you all of the staking profits that you are earning from your personal contracts as well as from the overrides of the contracts of the people on your team. So for this particular person, 3 years later, $7.6 million. All of this is money that is going to come to them as their contracts unlock and their team's contracts unlock. So for their personal staking, $4.752 million is what they're going to get as all of their contracts, personal contracts unlock. And then the rewards for referral staking. So from their team, they got another $2.875 million coming to them. That's going to happen somewhere between 3, 5, and 7 years, right, as they're going along as these contracts start to unlock. So they've already built up some potential wealth of $7.6 million. Let's show you, though, what they have actually been paid, though, up until this point, about 3 years and 3 months later. Over $2.1 million. Now, look at how this breaks down. Their rewards from their referral program, so that 10-level front end, people are saying, can I really make money there? They earned in 3 years $584,854. Okay, so over $500,000 from that front end over 3 years. Not bad. Check this out, though. Their leader reward. So this is a person who clearly went out and got 100 people or more. Their leader rewards was $912,500, so almost $1 million now more. They earned more from the leader reward, from that $5 through infinity, than they earned from their regular 10-level payout. Okay, $912,500. By the way, this is overview total unlocked. That means all of this money came into their account and they were able to withdraw it already. Over $2 million. This isn't locked up anywhere. This is $2 million they earned all along that they were able to go withdraw. Okay. Now, rewards referral staking. This means that, remember this money right here, this 2.8 million, as contracts are opening up, they're going to get all of that. Well, they've already had some contracts of their team members that actually became unlocked. Their piece of this was 289,000, almost 300,000 more dollars, and then their own contracts being terminated. They've had 4 contracts that have opened up for them so far, personal contracts. Eventually, they're going to make 4.7 million from all of their contracts, but they've had 4 contracts so far. They picked up another 316 grand there for a total of 2.1 million. This is 2.1 million dollars that this person earned in 3 years. About 1.5 million of it they earned all along the way. They didn't have to wait 3 years or 5 years or 7 years. They earned this because they went out and they were sharing it with people. But then now that 3 years has gone by, they had some of their contracts open up, they had some of their team's contracts open up, and they picked up roughly another $600,000 there on the back end, which means they earned about another 1.5 million or something like that, 1.5 million over the 3-year period before these contracts unlocked. That is incredible wealth building, not just money for the future, but money today. This is a person who actually did it, and this is just one of many people who have gone out and shared this proficiently and been able to change their financial lives. Guys, the final thing I want to share with you is this blessing, what we call, of anonymity. So many people have said, why is it all anonymous? Why can't I go visit the banks and talk to them, or visit the insurance companies and talk to them? I want to tell you guys a quick story. We'll first start with Bitcoin, because I think most people are familiar with Bitcoin, even if they aren't familiar with the Bitcoin story. So Bitcoin was based on a free market ideology. Bitcoin was invented in 2008 when an unknown entity, published a white paper under the pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, some people have heard that, but what people don't understand is nobody ever knew who Satoshi Nakamoto was. They don't know if it was a person or a group of developers. A lot of people think that it was a group of developers, but that group of developers published this because they were pissed off about what happened with the banking collapse and the housing market collapse that was actually facilitated by the banks, I should say. They were mad about that. And they realized at that point that banks didn't care in their minds about the people. They went out and got profits. They knew the market was going to go down. They didn't tell anybody. They let it crash. People lost their homes. They lost their life savings. They were completely wiped out. The banks not only got bailed out by the government, many of the bankers got big bonuses for basically wiping out the people. So they wanted to create what they called the people's money. And that's what Bitcoin really was about. Now, in 2009, when Bitcoin finally became available, the price was 1/3 of a penny, 0.003. So it was basically a joke. But by 2011, they had achieved perfect parity with the US dollar. So just 2 years later, one Bitcoin was worth $1. And now in 2025, 14 years later, one Bitcoin is worth $100,000+. It's blown away the growth of the US dollar. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. Because of the incredible success of Bitcoin, there are now over 25,000 cryptos, right? With a $3.3 trillion market cap, Bitcoin still dominates with $2 trillion+ as a market cap. There are over 172,000 crypto millionaires, over 320 centimillionaires. So people are worth $100 million or more, and over 28 billionaires. And these numbers increase by about 50% from the year prior. So this is starting to dramatically grow. This is the new way for people to become wealthy. And almost all of this wealth is being held outside of the traditional banking system. It's being held on privately owned digital wallets where people can control their own wealth and not have it being wiped out by other people in the banking industry. Now, here's what I want to ask you. Do you think if the banking industry knew who Satoshi Nakamoto was back then, do you think as they saw this growth starting to occur and they saw all this wealth being offloaded out of the banking system, they would have allowed that to keep happening? Do you not think this person or people might have found themselves all of a sudden in a little bit of trouble out of nowhere, right? The anonymity is the only reason we have Bitcoin today. It's the only reason we have 25,000 cryptos, and it's the only reason we have all of these people being able to generate incredible life-changing wealth. Guys, Cryptex, the banks, the insurance companies, the smart contract creators, and the account holders, that's me and you, are all completely anonymous. This has allowed cryptex to operate uninterrupted since 2016. This is one of the largest wealth creation vehicles in history, and the anonymity, the continued anonymity, clears the roadway for continued prosperity. That is the blessing of anonymity. Guys, let me just ask you and show you what's next. It's simple. Number one, get your questions answered. I'm sure you have a few. Get back to the person who shared this video with you. They can get them answered for you. And if you're interested, get started and pick a strategy. I know some people are like myself. They're coming in, they're looking at it, and they're saying, I'm all in. I'm going to go get 3 of these 15 packs, and then that's 45 contracts for $3,000, and I'll buy the other 3,500 individually contracts, and 35 contracts for $3,500. That's 80 contracts. You spent $6,500. Okay, other people are thinking, I'm just going to go get a couple of these a month, every month for 36 months, and then, at 36 months from now, I'll start making about $70,000 a month, and I'll just keep buying and keep earning, right? And then other people are just going to get in wherever they can fit in. If they can buy 1 contract now, or 5 contracts now, or 10 contracts now, they'll do that. But most people know that their goal is to eventually get to 80. Figure out what your strategy is. We can work on one with you based off of your budget and what you're looking to accomplish for you and your family in a few years, and show you how to do it. And then the only other thing you have to ask yourself is simply this: will you keep it a secret, or are you going to go share it with others? I just showed you a person who's earned about $2 million, 1.5 million in 3 years by simply sharing it with people while they were waiting for the other 600,000 to kick in on the back end for them and start pushing into those millions. Guys, if that type of life sounds like something that you're looking for, we've got marketing systems, we've got all sorts of support. We can show you how to go out and engage aggressively and start turning around your life today, not just waiting for 3 years. But again, it's completely your choice. You never need to share this with anyone if you don't want to, but if you do, we can show you how to engage properly and not only change your financial future, but your financial present. With that said, thanks so much for actually taking a look at this overview. We look forward to hearing back from you, and if you do decide to join us, let me be the first to say welcome to the Cryptex community. Have a great day, everyone. Look forward to seeing you.